Hello and welcome to the regular. I don't know. We said in the chat, this is gonna be a fun episode. We're having technical problems over here, as you can see. I'm Jason DeRoss, and here's my co-host, Stacey McGonigal. She's not quite here yet today, but she did send a message to say, just do it, man. Live your life. Go live. So here we are. And it's the regular today. And Stacey more than likely will be. Yeah, we do need to insert an air horn noise. Thanks, Laura. I can't do it, and I'll get made fun of if Stacey was here. So welcome to the regulars. Stacey McGonigal will join us soon. And for now, you're stuck with little old me. So, hey, Jason, how's your life going? How are things going? You can see you've changed sort of like the look. Pretty blank wall. And we got the net, but I'm still playing with this camera idea. How do I look? Pretty good? Okay, great. Yeah. And this literally is, as you can see, I'm holding my mug here, realizing I probably can't even sip during this because I can't really take a break to be like, that sounds good. You're right, Stacey. Yes, 100%. So what are we going to talk about today then? First off, last night, how you doing, Jason? Great. Last night, you know what I did, Stacey? I jumped into a sequel, and there are a lot of times like sequels, you're like, oh, these are bad. And I was at the beach yesterday with some friends, and we had a conversation about this. Thanks, everybody. The chat's being so nice. I know that I'm cutting myself off now, but like, the chat's being very nice. Jason, we're here with you. You got this. You can't take a break and not listen to Stacey. Oh no. What I did yesterday is I went to the beach and we had a great time. Saw like maybe a whale, maybe a sea lion, some sort of sea monster jump out of the lake at us. But we were talking about these sequels. I'm on a long walk by myself. And we were talking about Home Alone 2, because if you are old like me, or not even old like me, Home Alone is like one of these classic Christmas movies, right? And I'm sure most of you, if not everybody, has seen it. Thank you, Laura. Insert Stacey laughing at Jason right here, just because he's obviously like Garth in headlights. But we were talking about Home Alone as a sequel, and I was like, oh no, like sequels never hold up because I don't remember how it originally went. You remember that Donald Trump had a cameo, and I came home and watched it last night because Charlie, who you all know and love, and I love more than anything on the planet, he loved Home Alone, the original, the night before, and we're like, well, for a treat, you can watch Home Alone 2. Does anybody remember Home Alone 2? Because it's better than the first one, which I was not expecting. I was like, this is going to suck. First of all, there's a lady in this, the pigeon lady, if you remember. And the pigeon lady is supposed to be the substitute for like the crazy old man that was in the driveway shoveling in the first one that ends up like smacking the kids in the face with a shovel, or the thieves in the face with the shovel. And she might be my new favorite actress of all time in a movie that's for children, sort of, and is like this like Roadrunner-esque sort of movie. Like they really clown it up with the violence that they do to the bad guys in this. They really clown it up. Like at one point when the Kevin has this thing come down the stairs, like this tool case, and boom, 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 it really like pops the door open and smashes them so they're flat again, and even their nose goes smush. And they even have like sound effects of like it's really cartoony. But even in all of that, there's this lady, and if you don't know it, I would suggest go watching this pigeon lady, because we could do a Brandon challenge on her and her alone, because she's amazing. Kevin's this kid who's like, they've literally written as smarter than everybody in the room, ingenious in so many MacGyver / like engineering, but also like that he's planned all these things ahead of time. I'm sure the writer was like, great, we're just going to make this kid smarter than everybody else. You always make kids smarter than the adults sometimes, but he's a genius. And this lady's acting off of a child, a young Macaulay Culkin, of just him talking very monotone. All her reactions are minute and amazing. Anyways, that's where we're at in my life. Great. Some people are saying we want to see a reenactment. I mean, Stacey would force me into it, but literally, he's like, Kevin gets scared by this lady because she comes out with a bunch of pigeons on her. So I'll do this part. Now picture pigeons on me all over. And if you're listening to this on audio, just picture it anyways. This is me slowly rising with some pigeons on me. I can't even do it. We're probably not going to listen to this on audio anyways, because Stacey's not going to put this up on audio after she learns what I'm doing. But then Kevin's like, not even one of these, but one of these, and he starts running, but then he stops and he's like, I'm going to process because I'm the smartest kid in the room. And he goes, And he turns and speaks his subtext, but which is great. He's like, you're obviously not bad because you freed my foot from that rock. And you're not scary, are you? And the lady just goes, no. And she does that like 4 times. I mean, I'm telling you, she's the best actress. And I'm like I'm down here, like I'm below like anybody you can possibly name. So now picture it doing it by someone that's great. Oh, apparently she's also in Beetlejuice. Guys, I'm sorry. It's so hard to follow the chat. I can't I know that Stacey gets mad at me when I'm looking at the chat, but here we go. Here it is. Anyways, that's now one of my favorite Christmas movies. Everyone goes, what's your favorite Christmas movie? And they talk about like Die Hard's not a Christmas movie, but it's great. And is it? I'll watch it again and see if that's true. But like, and Holiday might be the new best Christmas movie for all we know. I think Home Alone 2 is better than Home Alone 1. The violence in it is stepped up. He tortures these 2 men to utmost, to crazy amounts. I don't know. Guys, it's hard to go for long. Yes, Catherine O'Hara, that's who you're talking about. Catherine O'Hara's obviously amazing. Give it up for Schitt's Creek. Give it up for Canada. Oh, Canadians out there, we're winning all the Emmys now. It's so great. Great. Yeah, that's I'm going to take a drink so everybody can chill out. Pretend Stacey's talking. Pretend Stacey just made fun of a word I just said improperly. I must be saying some words right. Okay, great. Snake King, who again, Snake King, I'm coming for you, man. I'm going to find out who you are at some point, and I don't want any help. I mean, I love the community, and they've helped me out with so much in my life lately, like the confidence through Model Mondays and everything. I don't want help on this. Snake King is my Moby Dick. Snake King is my Where's Waldo. Snake King is my Carmen Sandiego. I'm going to find him or her, figure out who you are. Because still, like, I went back and watched our special a little bit the other day. And because you guys were so nice in it, and it was so nice to reminisce. And I realized why you guys were putting octopuses in the chat. It wasn't because Charlie liked octopuses, because either my mom or Jenny came on and pointed that out. So then but in nowhere did it mention my brother's name. And I don't think any other podcast I've ever mentioned his name. He knew my brother's name. So clue number 1. This is a Barbara of Somerville mystery that I'm going to figure out on my own. Jason, Snake King is greatness. Kayla, this is the most scariest. This is me in a horror movie now. What if Snake King was your wife? Do you mean my white wife? She knows my brother's name. She's now a suspect. But you know what? They always keep you. You're always a suspect when you're the spouse. She's afraid of snakes. This is a perfect setup. And Snake King taunting me. The mystery continues. Oh my goodness! And look at that icons. It's so great. Jen Caruana. Jen Caruana is here as always. Jenny Cirillo is here as always. So lovely. Maybe one of you guys can help me out co-host wise today a little bit, because before we jump on, I can see the chat. taking place. And today, one of our OG listeners was there for this dumb thing. Has said that she's having a soft day, followed up by two of our communities having a soft day, Tamika and Shayla. So maybe there's a way that we can boost Tamika and Shayla, because the one thing that I've noticed with our podcast, when we're like, again, Stacey and I started this back in March, which was so long ago. And when we did it, we had no idea what we were doing in the sense of what we were building. Like, this organically has built to a pretty amazing community where we've built each other up from so many fronts. And then we end up with super nights. Like, my birthday this year was so special. I wish everybody had a birthday like mine during the pandemic, because you guys were all so nice, and all my friends came on to say hello live on a podcast. It's crazy. But it looks like everybody on the planet is going to get at least one pandemic birthday. I think that's where we're at. So even if you were born in late February and you're like, I'm getting away with it, i.e. Stacey McGonigal, I think Stacey McGonigal is going to have a pandemic birthday. I also have a friend. I'll point this out again. I'm going to go on a lot of walks today, guys, and probably not remember where I'm not leaving any breadcrumbs behind me at this point. So I might not get back to where I originally was. So come in this magical forest with me, jump in the stream. Let's have a good time. I had a friend that with their birthday this year, it was a landmark birthday, and they were like, I'm not doing it. I'm not having it. It's canceled. So I'm doing this year again. And so they had their birthday, but they treated it like it was a 9, like 9, like 29. And they're like, great. Next year I'm doing my big one. And hopefully that's going to happen. Like, hopefully, because this was just like recently, like a week ago. So hopefully not, 51 weeks from now, we're celebrating birthdays still in pandemics. But he's doing it all over again. So anybody that's having a landmark birthday this year, I urge you to just do it again. Thanks, Tamika. Now, Tamika, I'm glad you spoke up too. She said you're doing great, Jason, which we all know I'm not, because you don't say that to somebody unless they're not. You're like, no, Jake, you're doing it. You're alone, and you're doing great. You're awesome, buddy. But thank you, Tamika. But Tamika brings me back to my original point. Tamika and Shayla are having bad days. How do we boost their spirits? And I don't know the answer to that. I like to just put out problems and then be like, solve it, let's from the chat. I know, like, when I see the chat, you're a bit behind what I'm saying a little bit. So I got to like pause for a second so you guys all hear what I just said, and then you start putting it in the chat. But what can we do to boost the spirits of Shayla and Tamika, who are having a soft day today? Yeah, I'm going to have to wait. By the way, Snake King has put it in there. It's true. I wonder if Stacey's even listening to this right now, because she hasn't even jumped on in the chat. I think we've noticed as well. But Snake King says Stacey's going to come in with a force. Great. And you know what, Alistair? Thank God that you're here. You're right. Let's have a chat about The Last Dance. You fucking I'm allowed to say fucking on this thing. This is my podcast now, apparently, for the day, so I can say whatever I want. Let's talk about The Last Dance. Scottie Pippen, John Paxton, Dennis Rodman. I'm not going back there. I was about to say, let's do this, and then let's not do this. Jason needs to join TikTok live on this stream. I'm not on TikTok. I don't think I'll ever be on TikTok. I jumped on this thing also last night, where I'm doing things right now. If anybody hasn't done like a master class or something, like I'm taking all these sorts of classes because we're in a pandemic, and I'm like, I don't want to watch TV anymore because I'm sick of it. So I'm like trying to figure out all these things. So for example, I watched this master class. Oh, Jan, I'm going to send you a picture if I haven't already. I know I sent you a picture very recently of a vindaloo that I did up, which is funny to say because that's the only dish I think I brought up to Stacey the other day. But last night I watched the master class, and I put together a pesto It's from, I can't even remember his name, but there's a masterclass there for this Italian cook. And he's like, the first thing you do is you make this homemade pesto that's a bit, he calls it evolved, like an evolution of pesto. And I've got a picture of it. It's on my phone, which I'm now using for my camera, so I can't put it on the thing. But like, I'm getting from everybody do dumb stories. One, Jan Caruana. Who are the Raptors drafting tonight? A lot of mock drafts have it for this same guy out of Washington. I can't even remember his name. We're so low in the draft that it's not really going to be a necessarily a piece for us. But I'm glad you asked. It's such an exciting week in the NBA. So last dance for Alistair Forbes. You know what, man? Maybe the new Michael Jordan is appearing. He's not. This draft class is not that strong. Maybe next year. But let's thank you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth's like, we can send them to you. You guys have as much. I'm reading too many quotes at once. You guys have as little faith in me as Stacey. You don't think I came with dumb stories? You don't think I brought them, Elizabeth? You guys want some dumb stories? Here we go. Great. Jason DeRoss's dumb stories. I can't see you right now while I look at this. So I'm going to read off a headline. I'm going to pop back in and we can play Ding That's My Stop with the community. And maybe at one point, Stacey will jump in the old chat here. Great. Here we go. Wisconsin police seek... I already won't be able to say this word. I need Stacey here to make fun of me. Wisconsin police seek conifer crook. You know those trees, a coniferous tree? I don't know how to say conifer crook who stole a rare tree. Anybody want to see that one? No, okay, really boring as fuck, obviously. How about this one? Let me find one that I actually really thought was very, very funny. A California police seek shirtless man and bikini-clad woman with American flag hat snatch from Trump supporter. So essentially, the police in Santa Barbara right now are ding, 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 ding. Thank you. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. What has happened is a topless man and a bikini-clad woman obviously went to some sort of Trump rally. I'm not even going to pull the story up. I'm just going to go off the headline. And by the way, I'm getting notifications pop up my phone like crazy, but I can't look at it because it's my camera. And I'm only guessing. Stacey is watching, and she is not enjoying this one bit. That's where my brain goes. And Stacey would make fun of me for also being like, why do you think the worst? But I bet if I turn my phone around, Stacey's like, what the hell are you doing? Or maybe not. She said, go live like crazy. And hopefully she jumps in on this soon. That was so great. So essentially, yes, the pink bikini lady has jumped into a Trump supporter rally and stolen a hat and run off. And the only description they've given the police is, I don't know, he was topless and she was in a bikini. And I kind of love it because I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, that's California in a whole right now. That it's in Santa Barbara doesn't surprise me. The beach I went to the other day was in Malibu, and this car drove up beside us that looked like it was a freaking tank car. And then we looked it up online, and the starting price for it is like $300,000. And I was like, yeah, this is where the crazies, yet the rich crazies hang out. I don't know. I'm losing myself here. This is a lot. You know what? This was a bad walk, you know? Oh, Jameson, do you maybe have the power to, you know, let Stacey join? No, I don't. She can come on whenever she wants. It's so that I do know because of this great community and because of all these other past times when we've had so many guests on, they can jump on whenever they want. We just have to give you the link and you can jump on. Maybe I should just give you all the link and we could have everybody on this all at once today. I think then Stacey would actually kill me, but that would be so fun to get everybody on here together. What are you guys texting me about? What's happening? Sorry, I'm just going to go back to the thing here. Oh, what's the secret ingredient? So great. This is what I was talking about. And everyone's worrying. Rob put out there, how do you evolve a pesto? So really easily, Really simply, what this I don't want to fuck it up because this guy's a master chef. Like he's a master. That's why it's masterclass. And I would suggest getting masterclass. I'm doing something really stupid that I'm afraid to even bring up here without Stacey on here, because I think if she's not watching and she couldn't hear, as these words come out of my mouth, she's going to go like this. How my camera, I can't. You're doing what? That's what's going to happen. She's going to perk up and be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm watching Penn and Teller's masterclass of magic, and that's great. Got a couple magic tricks in the thing. Never will use them. Never will do it in my life, but it's kind of fun. Get masterclass. So I'm watching this Italian chef. I'm going to fuck this up so bad. This is his evolution. First of all, he said it's all about palate all the time. Everything you do is about palate. That's what I love about cooking. Do whatever you want. Make it for your own. It's why I really probably shouldn't be cooking for someone else, because my palate is sort of as fucked up as I am. And so I'm like, I love this. And we've talked about this before, how I order the weirdest dishes. I don't want to talk about your fucking Japanese knife, Alistair. I mean, I actually do, but here's how he elevates the pasta. Instead of pine nuts, which are so expensive or whatever, and this is a professional chef, the best in the world, masterclass, being like, pine nuts, get them out of here. And he's not just because it's too expensive. He's just like, you don't need them. They actually are really nutty, and they can mess it up. So step one, instead of using cloves of garlic, which are also like really flavorful, instead of having them, I forget how he put it, but like being intrusive on your pesto, in your blender, cut one in half and just rub around the inside. And then you don't put the garlic in your pesto. You just take the clove and you rub it. So inside of it is it's an 8-inch Giotto. And I said that wrong for sure again. Put that on the shirt, Elizabeth. 8-inch Giotto knife. Alistair, great, thanks. So you put the garlic on the inside of the blender. Is this content for anybody? Everyone feeling good today? I know that like on the stream, like I keep looking down because I'm really like got nothing else. I can look at my camera, which probably is my phone that has a lot of stuff from Stacey on it. But I'm looking down at the chat. Garlic on the inside. Now throw in your basil, your olive oil, which I didn't have enough of last night. It was the one thing that I was like, oh, we forgot to get more, because you always just assume you have a gallon of olive oil in your garlic. And thanks, Alistair. This is A+ material. Thanks. And oil, lots of it. Basil, then mint and thyme. Don't know if you normally use that in pesto, evolving, but you don't use the branches. He said with mint and thyme, you just kind of like take off all like the little leaves and you put them in there. And then in the pasta, you throw the branches or like the sticks of it all in the water while you're boiling the pasta to give the pasta flavor. How else is involved? So instead of pine nuts, then when you're putting the Parmesan and you're putting the pine nuts, you put in breadcrumbs instead. Now, that's almost the whole thing. Like that's almost all of it. Anyways, I made it last night. It was okay. It was okay. I got to do better. So if anybody's actually just listening to this on audio, I just let them know all I did was taking a break for a drink there. So thank you, Alistair. It seems like honestly better than your work on Main Stage. And I think that's because Alistair was one of my main writing partners on Main Stage. And that might be part of that reason, because now I'm out here solo. I really need him to come up with some ideas. Like we got to a point, I know that we always hate like reminiscing stories, and I will get back to the odd news as well, like the messed up stories. But because we always take a walk about Second City, and the Toronto location is closed down, and I'm seeing all these memories from friends on Facebook pop up. They're putting up all these pictures over the past like 15 years that have happened in that awesome building. Alistair and I got to a point in our process where we had pitched so much together, and we had a great time. Nigel's in the chat too somewhere, so he's a part of this as well. But Alistair and I got to a point where we sat down one day and we're like, what else we got? And we were going to write a scene where we just built the biggest baseball gloves we could possibly do. And when I say the biggest, I mean ones that we could sit in as a baseball, essentially. Put them on and just play catch on stage and have a conversation as a father and a son. We don't know what the scene was about. We know nothing about it whatsoever. It was just, do you want to just play catch on stage and improvise a conversation with these massive baseball gloves and never reference them? And I still think that's like the funniest thing. So R.I.P. Gangsta Funeral rap, as Nigel put it. But to Alistair too, I think we have to do that eventually. You and I just play catch, even if it's just in the park. We should do it as meta art, where you and I'm coming back to Toronto at some point. I don't know if I'm allowed to just, what am I telling them about my life for? But when I come back to Toronto, I think we should just go to a park with the biggest baseball gloves and just play, and then just act like it's normal and have people look at us when we go by. I mean, yes, will it be like around Christmas time, and will there be snow on the ground and nobody will be outside because it's a pandemic and it's freezing fucking cold? Yeah. But we'll do it for ourselves. Let's get back to some odd news stories to play some more Ding That's My Stop. Okay, great. And which means if I'm going to read this right now, I can't see what's going on in the chat. So sorry if you're being like, wait, I need more. But here we go. Kentucky town elects dog as mayor. : he's all ears. Great. This election has gone to the dogs. I'm dinging myself here anyways. I'm just getting off the train. This is like, I'm a solo bus driver here. No one's on. No one's in the back seat. No one's here. It feels like I could stop and get coffee wherever I want. So here we go. This small community of Rabbit Hash. Well, your city's called Rabbit Hash. I mean, has elected a dog as its mayor. Wilbur Beese, a French bulldog, won the race with... First of all, let me put this out to the community. There's a town in Kentucky called Rabbit Hash. And when you think Rabbit Hash, you're probably thinking like an old Mark Twain sort of book or something. And you're like, yeah, this is little town, whatever. I want you just to guess, what's the population of Rabbit Hash? What's the population of Rabbit Hash? Throw it out there in the chat. And as you do that, Snake King's asking, is Second City closed for good from COVID? Any chance of it opening back up in the future? For anybody that actually cares, a lot of people that would be into this kind of know. It wasn't really because of COVID it was closing. This was sort of a planned closing of that location because they're turning it into condos like every fucking thing else in Toronto, where now our memories are all gone from geographical existence. Like I can't go to Sneaky D's again, and I can't go to friggin' get the nachos, and or like 100 other places. And Honest Ed's is gone. So it was going. The plan is to, I know they have one location. I shouldn't talk like I know all this. I'm hearing secondhand from 100 people. They've built they're building a second location, which will open God knows when because of COVID and because of everything else. So, it'll physically be back, hopefully. So everyone's guessing here. Great. And some of them are making like 6.5 people. Great. Jenny Stroll is probably closest with 23 million. But everyone else is like 37, 84. Well, the only reason I'm asking what the population of Rabbit Hash, Kentucky is because the mayor is a French bulldog and won with over 13,000 votes. Over 13,000 people in this town. I mean, unless there's voter fraud, maybe it's a bunch of dead people voting, voted for a French bulldog to be their mayor. And it was the highest winning total ever for that position. This feels right. In this election year, this feels 100% right. This bulldog, true news. By the way, my phone's blowing up again with something. I don't know what it is because these could be anything. My computer just tells me like you've got something pop up, just a notification. So it could be just an email or whatever, but I'm pretty sure maybe it's Stacey. And hopefully it's Stacey. Stacey, get in the chat. Get in the chat. What's up? Great. I mean, Trump said dogs are voting too. This is why, Tamika, this is where it started. This was the downfall of civilization right here in Rabbit Hash, Kentucky. Rabbit Hash is known for its historical general store that dates back to the 19th century, but was destroyed in 2016 in a fire. This is a small micro. This represents America right now. Okay. Anyways, back on the bus, guys. Next fun story. This will be my last one because this is whatever. Let's read this one right here. Or here, you guys ding this my stop. more pets than no, I don't want to read that. This is going great, Jason. Police make contact. I don't know why I like stories about if the police are involved, there's stake involved. Someone's done something stupid. But it's not in Florida. Police make contact with missing Iowa man. Fuck my words. An Iowa man who saved the U.S. flag during protests and then vanished. So Iowa police said that they made contact with a man who saved an American flag from protesters during a demonstration over George Floyd and then vanished for 3 months. So this is not unsolved mysteries. Some guy ran into a thing. There was probably somebody that had a flag upside down, or maybe was going to burn it or whatever, because the protest got so heavy and hectic about what's actually going on. And this guy grabbed the flag and was like, "No, this is the American flag," and ran off. The police spent 3 months looking for that guy. What are we doing here, kids? Let them run away with it. Who cares, man? Also, they're still coming in. Thanks, Laura. Jason, you got this. I don't, and that's okay. I feel like I'm going toe to toe with Dana Carvey in this one, though, so I feel really good. And I don't mean David Carvey as a comedian, because he's one of the best, but I mean as Garth. I'm doing it. Oh God. Oh my God. R.I.P. the pronunciation of Iowa. I know, guys. This shirt's turning into it's turning into a wedding dress. I'm gonna have to have one of those trails that. One of the trails, from a wedding dress. What are those called? I don't care. Great. Drinking. Great. So what else is going on? I did get a message because we talked last time. Stacey and I got heated for a hot second there. She was like, Desperate Housewives, or sorry, not Desperate House. It's the Real Housewives. Oh my God, Desperate Housewives is a different show. Real Housewives franchises are. I don't know how many of you watch Salt Lake now. I still haven't I didn't find the time to go watch it yet. But my sister-in-law is a crazy fan. She's also on the Hey You app, loves it a lot, and follows it all. I guess she also listened. Thank you, Cindy. I love this pod so much. I'm dying inside. But apparently, when I was like, first of all, I wasn't going to fight Stacey on, is this a franchise that shows strong female characters? Of course it is. It's an ensemble of all ladies, and they all have very different archetypes to them. And I for sure I'm not debating that. But when we talked about like that versus books, or like I was just surprised at how this franchise has grown. And she's like, "No, there's not 11." Apparently, there's a lot. There's a lot, because my sister-in-law did reach out and go, there actually is quite a few franchises, because there's also like the Australian franchises. There's a couple Canadian franchises. There's some other ones in the States that weren't mentioned. So I think, because Stacey's not here and she's not in the chat, so I'm hoping she'll never hear this ever. I just want to say, for once, I think I might have been right. And I just felt myself shrivel up inside as I said that, because she's not here to defend herself. She's going to tear my head off, but I think I was right for once. There are lots of Housewives franchise, Real Housewives franchise, and they are great. They're great entertainment. All I'm saying is, like, Stacey talked about maybe getting this book club going, and a couple of people were like, "Hey man, maybe let's do this." And the only reason why I say it is because, yes, am I listening to a lot of books right now and not reading them? 100%. I am listening to Audible, and they're not a sponsor. So now they are, because I've said them. If I say them 3 times, it's probably like that Bloody Mary thing. So Audible sponsored. Great. I think we could start some sort of book club together. Alistair, maybe you can help me out here. It's not on like Japanese Knives, and not on like The Last Dance, but I feel like, because we've built each other up in so many other ways, exercise, diet, just good for the soul stuff, Jenny Cirillo's tarot cards that have built confidence in at least me, the Model Mondays, all of these, we've done all so many things. So like, why not feed our brain with something? Is there a book out there? I'm going to put this out there on our Instagram account to be like, is there something over the holidays that maybe we want to read together. And yes, how would we know if you listened or read? It don't matter. You know how you know? I'll tell you right now. I'm going to listen. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read that book. I don't know if other people have this problem that I've got, but if I start reading a book, my eyes shut and I fall asleep, and I can't sleep otherwise. I'm not a good sleeper. I'm a terrible sleeper. However, if I read a book, it goes, no, you're not like your eyes get, it's like my eyes going to the gym and being like, this is an hour workout. One page is an hour workout. Check out maybe a Breeden Brown book. You know what, Alistair? I had looked at one of those before, and that's not a bad idea. Cirillo's already saying good call. Shayla, I will say this: Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I can contradict everything I just said. I read that book word for word, no problem, and I got through it so quickly. It's a great book. It's kind of weird because it's written by this guy, Mark Manson, in like his I think he's in his 30s or late 30s. And he's basically like, this is life, guys. And it's like, my friend put it this way. He goes, reading the book is like you're sitting with this guy in a bar, because it's written like, not conversationally, but close to, of like, this is what fucking happens next, man. And in life, just do this and then you don't give a fuck or whatever. And he's kind of right. Like, the book is very, it's an easy read, that's for sure. And it's great. So maybe something like that. I'll read that again, to be quite honest, if people really want to read that, because that was the first thing. When I moved out to Los Angeles, in that transitional time, that's the book I read, and I actually kind of remember. It kind of like pieces me into that. I really like it. What did I pronounce wrong this time, Jameson? Oh, wonderful. So maybe that's an idea. I'll put a couple books out there on our Instagram. You guys can jump in our DMs like you've done with everything else and let us know what you want to read. But I'll put some suggestions out there. One, a Breeden Brown book, because apparently there's a newer one out that's actually pretty great, as I imagine it would be. If you don't know who Breeden Brown is, the reason why Alistair and I have a connection is because we did write a scene at Second City. Why does it always go back to Second City? About being vulnerable, because she has a TED Talk about vulnerability. And it was a scene where I got to take my shirt off every night. Surprise, surprise. So, and Alistair took his shirt off too. Alistair did it proudly because he was thin and trying to get abs. And I did it with every night being like, well, here's my, as Chris Siddiqui put it, my belly button might be pointing a bit south, just a little bit. It was great though. Yep, I might be pronouncing it wrong. Pronunciation. I see. Brene. I might be pronouncing her name wrong, which I feel so bad about, because she's an amazing speaker and a very much smarter woman than I will ever be. And there it is, guys. I'm so the Bad Religion book. It's true that Bad Religion did just come out with a book, and I did read through that. I didn't read that one. I ordered it and listened to it on Audible. And I will say this: I hope that Greg Graffin or none of the Bad Religion people are listening to this, because I love them more than life. But it's good for a fan. It's not written well. And I heard that from many people in my life that are Bad Religion fans. They're like, it's just not written well. And it's true, because everything they build up, in a moment when you're like, oh my God, am I inching to stage right? Like, getting out of here. This is my Garth moment. I know that I'm jumping around a bunch, but I forget what I was talking about. Great. With that, because I was reading Alistair's tweet. Oh, this is how Stacey feels. You're not even listening to your own self. Maybe when we pulled up that lifeguard from the audience and he took his shirt off and we were so shamed by how fucking ripped he was. So every night we would bring up a new person on stage and we would run them through a gamut of things inside of a scene, like hidden inside of a scene where we were soldiers in Vietnam. And we would run them through, and we would start off very little, and we'd get them to be more and more vulnerable, because we wanted people to feel vulnerable. Like, that was the end goal of the sketch. So we would start with things like, just getting on stage in front of 300 people is a pretty vulnerable act for somebody that's just like your average person from whatever, the suburbs, come in and they're like, great, I'm watching a show tonight. Oh my God, I'm in front of 300 people on stage and I didn't expect it. That's a pretty vulnerable act. So that's a good way to start it out. And then we're like, well, how else do we make them vulnerable? It does end up with taking our shirts off. So the night we made a lifeguard take their shirt off. And I don't think it was a lifeguard, actually, Alistair. And this is why I'll say that, because I remember it was like a professional volleyball player, because when you're doing it, when you're on this stage, the backstage is over here to my right, where the cast stands. There's backstages both sides, but we stay backstage right. But like, there's also a door that leads out into the audience. And that night in particular, once we brought that guy out, for sure somebody backstage was like, wait a second, what's going on out there? Because the whole cast had kind of inched their way out into the audience, and we're watching this guy, because when he ripped his shirt off, he's a professional volleyball player. So ladies, yeah, the guy was like 6'3", for some reason, tall as a thing. Why do the ladies like tall people? I don't know. Like, what's wrong with short guys? And ripped out of his mind, and he had no problem taking his shirt off. So that happened. But on many nights, one of the things we got them to do was tell a true vulnerable story from their actual life. And we had to lead up to it, obviously, and plant the seed that they were going to do that so they could start thinking about it. And some of the nights we got, I mean, I wish, one of the things that I feel I can go back on, it was like, write down all these stories that we got. And Alistair, I know you're thinking the same thing, because people would get up there and they would tell these very vulnerable, very, very vulnerable stories. And when they did that, we have no idea what they're going to bring to the table. So one guy starts, and he's almost like, he's really solemn about it. And he's like, well, one night I was drinking. I drank a little too much. And for some reason, I thought I could get on my motorbike. And I know, like, at this point on the stage, in the comedy of it, I'm dying, and not like laughing, dying. Like, my character is like, I'm like, tell me the story about your life. I'm not going to make it. And Alistair's trying to revive me back from this thing as this person tells a story. But Alice holding on to me like this. And I think, I don't remember this part, but I'm sure that Alistair and I was like, we're about to hear about a pretty terrible story. And he's like, yeah. And then it was kind of rainy out, and I routed this corner, and I thought I was going too fast, and turns out I was going very slow. And as I turned the corner, I was going so slow that my bike just tipped over. So this guy drunk on his bike was going so slow that it didn't even keep up momentum to stay straight. It just went boop. And then he's like, then I realized I was too drunk to drive home. We're like, oh my God, thank God. Okay, great. We can continue this comedy scene for everybody in the audience. And the only other story, I'll bring this up because these are funny to me, and I hope it's funny. My chat has stopped working, either that or people are bored to death and they've stopped listening altogether. But what I will say is this: there is one more story I'll bring to you, and then maybe I'll even wrap it up on that. We've been going for almost 45 minutes, and Stacey hasn't popped in and hasn't popped into the chat, so I'm actually worried that maybe something is going really wrong. With that, I'll say this. The last story is from a guy named Ace, and he was a beautiful, beautiful human being. I met him afterwards, and then he even started taking classes at Second City, so I got to know him a little bit more. And he was such a nice little guy. And one of the things that he did was take those classes. Oh my God, what are they called? It's like a toast class, which I found out was a thing, but it teaches you how to be a better public speaker. Oh no, wait. Everyone's like, no, Jason, keep going. It's this thing every once in a while freezes. You guys have actually been talking the whole time. Great. He going into one of these Toastmasters. That's what it's called, a Toastmaster class. So he liked to talk, but he's a smaller guy. He's smaller than me in every way. He's a bit skinnier than me. I think he's a bit shorter than I am. So he's this little cool, nice kid. And we got him up, and he was like, his vulnerable story was this, and I won't do it justice. And I hope Alistair's still here listening to this, because you're the only one I'm doing this for. And well, Jan's here. Beautiful Jan. So he goes, well, the first time I made love, and this comes off of Alistair and I also had to build up stories, tell our own secret stories of being very vulnerable to the audience, obviously, to let them know it's okay to tell vulnerable stories to the audience. And mine does have to do with, I won't tell Al's, I'll let him do it himself eventually. But mine was about the time that I did sort of lose my virginity, and it was a hard story for me to tell. So he goes, well, the first time when I lost my virginity, not the first time. And yes, thanks, Al. Oh, hell, I remember Ace. His story ended with, I was having, this is going to be very graphic, but I don't even know if I should be telling this here, and Stacey would have stopped me by now. But basically, he lost his virginity, and then his vulnerable part of the story is the girl didn't even know it happened. He thought that he was like, I've lost my virginity. This is great. And then the girl was like, I didn't feel anything. I didn't know you were down there. So that was how that one ended. And then we moved on with him, and he was so nice to tell a story, which I don't know. I thought that was one of the funnier ones that I remembered. But I really wish we would have written them all down. Anyways, guys, this has been so fun. I thought that Stacey was going to jump on within the first 2 minutes, and she obviously hasn't. So there's something, she's got some real technical problems. She said that she's got some camera issues. Thanks everybody for sticking around for a Wednesday. We did it. Woo, we made it through. And I'm sure we're going to be back Friday and everything will be fine, because we do have the classical Mr. Casual Friday coming back on Friday. So that will be so awesome. I can't wait for that. Again, guys, if you haven't yet, we're going to work on towards another movie night. And to do that, we haven't set a goal yet. We'll put it out there. I don't want to put one out there without Stacey involved. Yeah, air horn. Whoop, whoop. Let's get some people to smash that subscribe button, because as we build up, we'll put another movie night out there. We're probably going to do it for the holidays or something. That's our goal anyways, because that was so fun to do that Netflix party. So we'll do that. And so get that subscribe button smashed. Follow us on Instagram, because then you can also participate that way as well. When we put out stuff for like a possible book club, we'll talk about it. I'll think out the details of it all. Thanks so much. Oh, this is so nice. We loved it, Jason. So sorry Stacey couldn't hop on, but we did it. A lot of fuck Maries today. Thanks, Robbie. Fuck Marie. Let's ring in this holiday season. My goal for my New Year's resolution for this year is going to be figuring out who Snake King is. And with that, everybody, thank you very much for indulging me in all my walks through this magical forest today. I'm going to go drink and just water. And we'll see you all on Friday. Bye.